Sheltered instruction combines language and content instruction. The goal is to make content comprehensible, relevant, and motivating to English language learners. Sheltered instruction targets academic language development and deeper conceptual understanding of the content. Sheltered Instruction Observation Protocol is a model for teachers to use in order to develop highly effective lessons. SIOP lessons are broken down into 8 categories, which include lesson preparation, building background, comprehensible input, strategies, interactions, practice and application, lesson delivery, and review and assessment. First is lesson prep. The educator must focus on content and language objectives, appropriate content concepts, supplementary materials, adaptation of content, and meaningful activities. Content objectives are essential to state at the beginning of lessons so students know what their end goal is. This then connects to language objectives to support ESL students in developing vocabulary for the lesson. Culturally and linguistically diverse students need additional opportunities for comprehending the material such as hands-on, visual, and kinesthetic materials to fully understand the content. An example of a meaningful activity would be authentic tasks for all students to be creative in their learning and connect to real life.
I know you wanted me to check on Sarah and Jenny's spelling work, their pretest. They only missed about 5, but that was the pretest. So
only 5?
Yeah, I did. I still reduced their words like we had talked about,
Yeah.
so they didn't have as many words. But I think they're going to be fine with our spelling in here, so they can start to
I was concerned if they needed to be dropped down to a lower reading level, or if they could do the words.
Right, and this is the second week that they've been doing that sign.
In the SIOP model, we begin planning our lessons by assessing our students and what they know and can do based upon the topic we're going to teach. We then also use, of course, our content standards, the SIOP model, the features and components.
And then when we move to teaching our lesson, we're assessing constantly throughout that lesson to see whether our students are understanding and getting what we are teaching.
The next step is building background. Teachers should build background for students as they introduce the content and language objectives. Strategies for building background include linking to past experiences, connecting to past learning, and emphasizing key vocabulary. Building background allows students to make stronger connections and clarify initial understandings of the content.
Hi! B is for building background knowledge. What is it? Background knowledge is the glue that makes learning stick. Strategies. We have speaking, listening, reading, and writing. For example, think, pair, share, anchor charts, and word walls. Now, let's assess using our 3 W's. What? Building background is the second component of the SIOP model, and it connects the learner to the content. So what? Background knowledge pulls in not only ELLs, but all learners. Now what? Start building background knowledge.
Next is comprehensible input. Comprehensible input helps students understand the content being taught. There are 3 components of comprehensible input. These include appropriate speech, techniques to clarify content concepts, and clear expectations. Teachers may use gestures, pictures, video clips, or manipulatives in order to make content comprehensible for students.
You don't need to speak Spanish to understand Spanish. I'm going to give you 3 messages. They're all the same, but I'm going to deliver them in 3 different ways. And I want you to see which message you actually understood or which approach helped you understand. En mi casa yo tengo 3 perros. El grande se llama Troy, la mediana se llama Helen, y el pequeño se llama Achilles. Number 2, second approach. En mi casa yo tengo 3 perros. El grande se llama Troy, la mediana se llama Helen y el pequeño se llama Aquiles. Approach number 3. En mi casa yo tengo 3 perros. Uf, 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 perros. El grande se llama Troy. La mediana se llama Helen. Y el pequeño se llama Aquiles. Which one of those approaches helped you understand the message? Obviously, it was the third one. And the reason why you understood it is because I used comprehensible input.
The next step is interactions. Critical aspects of interactions within the SIOP method are discussion and in-depth responses about concepts, sufficient response wait time, appropriate grouping configurations, and clarification of lesson material of the student's first language. Students must practice in order for them to fully understand the material. Students must have frequent opportunities to practice language use in the academic setting. Students who are non-proficient in English tend to respond to discussions with brief answers. Teachers using the SIOP method become skilled at asking follow-up questions to require students to elaborate on their responses. Some example follow-up questions are, why do you think? What connections can you make between? What if? How would you change? Or what would you recommend? In regards to appropriate grouping, students tend to benefit more from participating in a mixed language proficiency level for extended periods of time.
What we advocate and what we know from research is that we must provide a greater amount of time in which students are speaking with each other and interacting with the teacher and among themselves. Now, this will not happen unless teachers carefully plan lessons where students are interacting with each other throughout the lesson and throughout the day. One of the ways that teachers can promote interaction in the classroom is through incorporating a variety of activities that require cooperative learning. And by this, I don't mean just putting kids in groups, but really structuring discussion for them, having them be required to complete a task together in which they have to talk and work and share with each other, all builds interaction opportunities.
The next step is practice and application. Instruction during this step includes hands-on materials and manipulation, activities requiring students to apply knowledge of content and language, and activities that use all domains of language. Learning is almost always enhanced when the concepts are relevant and real to them. Hands-on activities and manipulations support students in connecting the learning to their own life. Teachers can actively involve students in applying content knowledge by providing opportunities for them to conduct experiments, create models, role-play historical and literary events, take action on social issues, or write bilingual books. The next step is lesson delivery. Lesson delivery is the sixth category of accommodative instruction within the SIOP model. This category emphasizes that the instructors include support of content objectives, evaluate the effectiveness of the lesson in actively engaging students, and determine the pacing of the lesson match the students' academic and language proficiency levels. Teachers use learning strategies that are best practice for ELLs and allow ELLs enough time to use them. Teachers use scaffolding techniques to assist the ELLs in their learning and vary questions so that ELLs can use higher order and critical thinking skills. Some of the strategies are Venn diagrams, T-charts, and canned questions, using varied level questions and putting them in a can and drawing out the questions. Continual visual activities enhance the ELL's learning and the class as a whole. At the end of teaching a lesson, teachers should review key vocabulary and key content through the content and language objectives. At this point, students should be able to use the content vocabulary as well as apply their learning. Assessing the content and language objectives should be a constant part of each lesson. Teachers can use a turn and talk, quick write, or a simple thumbs up, thumbs down to gauge whether or not students are meeting the lesson objectives. Feedback is an effective tool to help with comprehension. Providing minor and frequent feedback helps keep students on the correct path instead of ending up in a completely wrong direction. Now it's time to review and assess your understanding of the SIOP model. Pause the video and read through each blue description. When you've read through all of them, match each of the descriptions with the SIOP element and continue to check your answers. How many did you get right? Thanks for watching.